Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Now in today's video we are going to be doing the mid-year book tag. So I can't believe it's already June. That's actually insane. I feel like this year has dragged by and flown by, and we are going to be doing the mid-year book tag. Now for these questions I pretty much just looked them up on Pinterest. So that's where I got the questions from, but I kind of just picked the most common ones that kind of popped up. So let's get started with the video. Alrighty, so the first question is, what is my favorite book of 2024 so far? So far, my favorite book of the year has been The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. She actually came out with this book last year, but I read it this year. I actually got it as a birthday present from my significant other, and they actually picked this out for me. I didn't even pick it out, but this is so far probably one of my favorite books. I absolutely loved this book. I loved the story. I loved the messaging. I loved pretty much everything about this book. It was so good. I tabbed a few pages. I definitely think if I gave this a reread, I would tab a lot more. I didn't initially give this book 5 stars, but I feel like this book is definitely 5 stars. The longer I've kind of thought about it and gone throughout my day and kind of marinated, I constantly come back to these characters. So next is a little bit of a kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. What is my least favorite book that I've read so far in 2024? And so far my least favorite book has been A Skin for a Sinner. Now this book, I enjoyed the first 50% of the book. I genuinely feel like the first 50% of the book could have been the whole book. Like it could have just been like a little over 200 pages. Like, it's a dark romance, and I've read my fair share of dark romances, and this one I personally just felt like it wasn't it. I feel like the first 50% it was good, caught my attention. We were getting backstory of the couple. I absolutely loved it. And then the last 50% felt like it was like, okay, let's see if I can pull out every single trope from a dark romance, the dark romance genre. I personally wasn't a fan of it. I've read another book by this author that I actually did enjoy, but it was actually the very first book I read in 2024, so not a great way to start my reading year in 2024, but it's okay. Alrighty, now moving right along, we are going to be talking about new releases that I haven't read so far, but I want to. First one is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I actually have not read an Elsie Silver book before, but I've heard pretty much that Elsie Silver is the queen of cowboy romances. I've read a few cowboy romances, just none by her, so I definitely want to give this book a try. I don't have the physical copy, but it is on Kindle Unlimited, and I did use an Audible credit to download this book, and I actually believe the second book is coming out in September, which she was like, I'm gonna drop 2, but I've heard this book is incredible. Didn't this book become a New York Times bestseller? I'm pretty sure it hit the New York Times bestseller list. I don't know, but Editing Christian will fact check me. Next one is Funny Story by Emily Henry. Now, I absolutely love and adore Emily Henry. She's probably one of, if not my favorite author, and I genuinely have not gotten around to reading Funny Story yet. This released in April. I'm gonna be so honest, I have kind of been in a bit of a book slump, and I just haven't read this book, and I don't want to read this book while I'm in a book slump because I don't think it would be fair to the book, because I feel like I wouldn't rate this book highly. I don't think I would rate any book highly, but I don't want to read one of my favorite authors' books while I'm in a book slump. I know that kind of contradicts what a lot of people go to. Typically, I feel like when people are in a book slump, they want to read their author's favorite books, but I don't know. I feel like I have this fear that I'm going to rate it badly, but I'm really excited to read this. Also, look how cute this cover is. Like, look at that perfect shade of pink. That is literally my favorite color, like shade of pink. It's so gorgeous. But is anybody else like kind of salty that she switched to releasing hardbacks instead of paperbacks? Like, I mean, I'm gonna buy both because like I bought the paperback of Happy Place and I have the hardcover of Happy Place, and I will in fact be buying the paperback of Funny Story when it releases. So I mean, get your coin. Like, if it's supposed to be a marketing strategy, girl, you got me. I'm trapped with no intention of getting out. Next is Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer. Now, I've read one Abby Jimenez book before, and I believe it was, is it the Happily Ever After playlist? Pretty sure that's the one I read from her before, so I've only read one previous book. Absolutely love Abby Jimenez writing, and everyone hypes up her books. I know I've only read one other book by her, but I absolutely loved it, and I love the writing. So I really want to read this and give it this a shot. I will say something funny about this book is it starts with a "Am I the asshole?" That's like the first line. Am I the asshole for naming my ugly dog after my ex-best friend? I think that's so funny that that's the very first line in this book. That's so hilarious to me. I don't know why. Okay, now we're going to be talking about some of my most anticipated reads for the second half of the year. So number one is The Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, and today is Saturday and it actually comes out on Tuesday, and I'm so excited. I love Riley Sager. I think for me, Riley Sager is like the king of thrillers. Like Stephen King is the king of horror books, and Riley Sager is the king of thriller books. I absolutely love every single one of his books, ones that I've read. I've loved every single one of them, and I'm so excited. And I love the premise for his new release, and I feel like his books just, I feel like they get me, you know? Like, they truly, like, I can't guess it. Like, I 100% did not guess the plot in The House Across the Lake or The Only One Left. Like, he got me, and he got me good. And I feel like I'm decent at picking them out because I've been a book girly for a while, but I started off as a thriller girly only because that's what my mom read. So the next one that I'm super excited for is The Wingman. Now, this is Hayden's book in the Vancouver Storm series. It has not been, the date has not been released yet, like her newsletter thing, and it's supposed to be releasing in kind of September, October-ish, but I cannot wait. I absolutely love the Vancouver Storm series. I fell in love with Stephanie Archer's reading last year. I've read pretty much every single one of her books. I started with Behind the Net, and then I read her previous series, but I read all of those books, and then I read The Fake Out. And then I'm so excited. I absolutely love Stephanie Archer's writing. She is the definition, her writing and her characters. Like, if you want, like, just great vibes, like, you're never gonna read one of her books and be depressed for the whole book. There are, like, of course there's, like, deeper emotional things that happen in her books, but you are having, like, the vibes are just immaculate. It's like 90% going to be just good vibes, and then you have that 10% of that emotional bit. But her books are absolutely amazing. I think she has the cutest and absolute amazing love proclamations. There's one thing that Stephanie Archer knows how to do. It's a love proclamation, and she's gonna do it, and she's gonna do it right. So I absolutely love all of her books, but The Wingman is coming out this year, and I'm so excited. The third book is actually by Ashley Poston. It's a novel love story. Now, her books are romance books with a bit of magical kind of realism. The 7 Year Slip has kind of a time traveling aspect, and a novel love story is actually about a girl who falls into a rom-com, like kind of falls into a romance. There's actually a movie that I've watched, I think it had Rebel Wilson in it, with kind of the same premise, like a girl falls into like a rom-com movie, and this one is a girl kind of falls into a romance book. I am so excited. I love, obviously, The 7 Year Slip is my favorite book I've read of 2024 so far, but I love her writing, and I really want to read the Dead Romantics. So if you guys have read the Dead Romantics, comment down below and let me know what you guys thought about it. All right, now the biggest surprise when it came to books for me is Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I'm actually holding these backwards. Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, mainly Iron Flame. This book, Fourth Wing, absolutely took the world, internet, everything by storm last year. I think it was May when this released. It took everyone by storm. Like, I've never seen a book blow up as fast and as much as I witnessed this book. It's so crazy to like witness it in real time, but this book was amazing. Then at the end of last year of 2023, the second book, Iron Flame, released, and I kind of read both of these books late. I actually read both of these books this year. I did not read them last year just because I could not find the Fourth Wing. Everyone was talking about how much Iron Flame was a letdown and they didn't like it and they felt like the book like wasn't good and like the Fourth Wing was amazing and Iron Flame wasn't good. I loved Iron Flame, like genuinely. So I think that it's this book that was mainly a big surprise, is I absolutely loved Iron Flame. There were some like parts that I was kind of like, that's kind of annoying. Very much so enjoyed Iron Flame. I gave it a 4.5 and I gave Fourth Wing a 5. So only going down a 0.5 rating. I feel like my thing is with Iron Flame is you can definitely tell that this book is build up for what's about to happen, and it's focusing more on the romance, but it's also setting up, like this book is setting up for the third book, Onyx Storm. And I don't know if this book is a trilogy or a series or whatever it's going to be, but this book is setting up for it, and I can't wait for the third one. Like, I'm really excited for the third book and kind of seeing what's about to happen. What are some of your new favorite characters? So I love Clementine in the 7 Year Slip. I feel like she is a very relatable person. I also feel like she was very self-aware. I love that Clementine was self-aware and was like, wait, hold on. I am being a problem. I'm being unreasonable. Let me take a minute and like recollect, because that wasn't very cool of me, or I shouldn't have done that. And I love her kind of outlook. I feel like Clementine is very much so. I feel like on surface level, it's like, oh, she's just, you know, a happy-go-lucky girl. But I feel like she also talks about the realistic side of what it's like dealing with grief. And this book is pretty heavy with grief, and it's kind of like a main theme. And I feel like she's very realistic on how like an everyday person would approach, because I feel like sometimes when it comes to grief in books, it can be very brushed over or it doesn't get explored. I feel like Clementine was very self-aware that she let grief control her life. But I absolutely love Clementine. I also loved pretty much every side character in the 7 Year Slip. I thought it was adorable. I thought it was so cute. I've also talked about the 7 Year Slip. I talked about how the male love interest also has some very similar personality type to my significant other, which I also thought was cute. Obviously, not everyone is going to have that connection, but to me, they felt very similar, and it was just also really cute. But I did love Clementine. Next, we're going to be talking about pretty much every side character in the Empyrean series. Not every side character, there are some, but Violet and Xaden's group of friends, I absolutely love them. I specifically love Liam. I thought Liam was probably one of my favorite side characters in this book. Thought he was amazing, but I love the friendship that Violet has with her friend group. Pretty much everyone in Violet's friend group I thought were so amazing, and they were also very much so like, I felt especially in Iron Flame, if you've read it, like Violet kind of pushes away everybody, and I feel like her best friend is like, no, we're not doing that. Like, get it together. We're we're not going to be doing that, because you're not going to act like a bad person. Just because something bad happened to you doesn't mean you get to act like a jerk. And I felt like that was very realistic to how real life people are. Like, obviously this is a fantasy series, so when something bad happens, it's a lot greater than what would happen to somebody in real life. But I feel like it is also a very realistic expectation on people. Like, just because you went through something traumatic doesn't mean you get a free pass in being a jerk to everybody. And I feel like her friend group calls her out in this book and is like, you're being mean and you need to stop. The last book that made me cry was, and that's all I'm gonna say. If you know, you know. Okay, now, favorite covers that I've bought this year. Two of my favorite covers that I bought this year is I got the Powerless Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I love this cover. I love the regular cover too with the purple. I think it is absolutely beautiful. And I also love that if you take off the dust jacket, there is something on the front. I hate when authors don't put, like, if it's a hardback book, put something on the front. Like, put something there. Like, I don't like it that there's nothing there. And I felt like it was super cute. I like the little detail. But I just feel like this cover is just super pretty. I also really love the cover. I bought The Serpent and the Wings of the Night by Carissa Broadman. This is book 1. And I love this cover. I think it's beautiful. I think it's so pretty. I have to say, I absolutely love romance books, but I feel like nothing beats a fantasy book cover. I just feel like there's nothing that beats it. Like, there have been some romance book covers that are absolutely beautiful, but like fantasy books, any fantasy book, you know the cover is gonna be gorgeous. Like, you just know, like, it's a given. And it's so pretty. Oh my goodness, I could stare at her all day. Alrighty, now we are gonna be getting into books that I need to read by the end of the year. We're gonna be talking about one that has been haunting me that I have yet to read, and it's been way too long at this point that I don't even know if I should read it. But that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I have the whole, this is a trilogy. I own the whole trilogy, but this is actually being made into a TV show, and I believe it will be on Netflix, but I have not read this trilogy, and I feel like it's been so long that the trilogy has been out that I should just, like, give up on it. But I have it, and I want to read it. Like, I want to read it. I want to read Holly Jackson books, her books. I hear they're amazing, but I just haven't. I've been avoiding her. Like, this book will just stare at me on my bookshelf. Like, and she'll just stare at me, and she'll be like, are you ever gonna read me? And I just ignore her. And that's not healthy of me, I'm sorry. Next book is I want to read Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is a sci-fi novel, and I really want 2024 to be the year that I've read my very first just plain science fiction. I've tried reading some science fictions, but I want to do it. Like, I don't know, it's like a little itch in my brain that I just want to scratch. So I really want to read this one. I hear this one is amazing. I hear this whole series is amazing, and it's still being released, but like books are still being released in this series. But I want to read it. Next, we have A Little Life. And before you comment, yes, I am aware. I know. However, I need to know. Everyone who reads this book is like, oh my gosh, greatest book of my life. Don't read it. You can't say that to me, okay? I don't want to hear it, guys. I'm gonna read it. I'm going to. I'm going against everyone's advice, and I am gonna read A Little Life, and because I want to know, because I don't know if any of my other book besties watching this video know, when it comes to A Little Life, there will be people who are like, oh my gosh, this book was amazing, 5 stars, and then they never recommend it. Why aren't you ready? I need to know. So I'm thinking about reading this book and kind of doing like a in-depth, maybe like a spoiler reading vlog. So that way, for those of you who are like me and just want to know, and you're like, well, why is everyone saying this book is amazing, but why are people not telling me to read it? Like, I need to know what happens. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take one for the team. I'm going to read this book. I'll probably do a full spoiler or video or something, so that way I can tell you guys. Because just like you all, I need to know. So I am gonna do this. Nobody comment and be like, don't do it, it's not worth it. It is. I need to know, and I need to experience it. And then I will come back and I will share my thoughts with you guys. So if you guys are like me and are like, why are people saying this book's amazing and not recommending it? We will find out together. We will find out by the end of this year. We will know. The very last question for this video is going to be some series that I want to finish by the end of the year. So let's get into it. So number one, we have the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy by Stephanie Garber. I have read the first 2 books in this series, but I have yet to read the 3rd book, A Curse for True Love. This book, it hasn't been on the forefront of my brain, so it hasn't been driving me crazy that I don't know what happens, but I want to complete it. Like, I want to read the 3rd one and just know. I just want to know. Like, I need to complete it. So I just have the last book left, but I'm excited to finish that one. Next, we have probably my number 1 enemy, Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves. Now, first of all, if you guys watched my every series I'm in the middle of video, you all will know that I have read this book. I have tried reading Dance of Thieves since that video happened 4 times. I've tried reading that book 4 times. I just cannot get into it. I've made it to 50 pages. I made it to 100 pages. I can't get past the 120 page mark. And I want to, because I feel like no one has really given bad reviews about this book series. And I need to know. I want to know. And they have been sitting on my shelf forever. And I can't do it. And I need to do it. So I'm not doing it anytime soon because I'm currently in the middle of a book slump. So I don't want a book that's going to make me be in even more of a book slump. But I'm going to read this duet. It's gonna happen. I'm putting my foot down. Next, we have probably the most anticipated book series. I'm not going to hold all of them up, but I will hold up the first one. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Now, you cannot be on Bookstagram, Book Pinterest, Book Talk, BookTube. You can't read books of any genre without knowing who Sarah J. Maas is and with not knowing what Throne of Glass is. You know, I know, we all know. So, I've read ACOTAR, I've tried reading Crescent City. I want to read Throne of Glass. I know this is actually her first series, so technically in the Sarah J. Maas universe, it goes Throne of Glass, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and then Crescent City, timeline-wise, that's how it's set up, but I want to read Throne of Glass. It's 8 books, but I want to read this series. I just really wanted to do it this year. I've kind of been pushing it off, so I want to give it a try. Alrighty, so that will conclude our 2024 mid-year book tag. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have read any of these books, are going to read any of these books, or you guys want to let me know what's your favorite book you all have read so far in the year, or give me your answers to the questions that were in today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTuber stuff every YouTuber tells you guys how to do. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.